And I'm sorry about Sully, and we are live. So I'm not going to minus myself out, just so you know, because it kind of I I've I've seen in the past that it kind of unnerves people because they can't see me. They don't, even though I can see the whole thing going on. I think the person that is being interviewed is kind of like, okay, is she going to be back on time? What is she doing? You know?
No, it's just like,
So,
it feels more like a conversation that way.
yeah. So I'm just going to mute myself, but unless it's something that you're trying to show and we need a bigger picture for people. All right.
Okay.
So they're not showing up on my end yet. I will say, do you have like something else opened up so that you can see the chat?
I have you on a tab, yeah, so I can see it.
Okay, and do you have it on quiet?
Yeah.
Okay. Which I am going to, really quick, try to shut my phone down. Yep, turn on now. Okay. And let me mute it. I have to do both things. Hi, Viola. Hi, Johnny. Good to see you guys. So, let me just pull up one last thing really quick and then we will get started. All right, let me pull it up and then I will mute it. All right. All right, so guys, we are here with Maria of LadyKnight of Avalon. I'm so happy to finally have you here with me, sweetie. Thank you for joining me.
Inviting me.
You are very welcome. So you can see the chat as it comes in then, correct?
Yeah, so hi Johnny and hi Viola.
Okay. So we were just talking a little bit. We'll just talk for just a couple of minutes or a minute so that people can roll in as they're getting their notifications and stuff. And I was asking you if you did anything for Beltane, and you were able to spend some time with your family yesterday. And of course, you guys were having some good talks about stuff that you thought was going on, right? Oh, I'm sorry. Yep. Get down. My cat was up on my altar. I got candles burning over there.
Yeah, I put mine in the other
room. That could have been a disaster. That was a disaster waiting to happen. Oh, gosh. So when you get together with your family, do you guys talk about all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, we do. Like, we talk about spiritual stuff. We talk about politics. We talk about everything that's going on. And the interesting thing about it is we all come from like different starting points. And like, for example, with spirituality, my uncle, he is very in quantum physics. Like, that's his take on spirituality. Everything can be explained scientifically, kind of. And my mom, she's like taking it all in. She's more like a kitchen witch, and I'm doing my own research, and I got like the spiritual woo-woo kind of aspect. So we all get together, and in the end, we always end up like at the same point, which is really funny.
That's very cool. You guys all come together like in the center. I love that.
Yeah.
Hi, Jade. Okay, so the first question, and just so you guys know, if you have watched my channel for a while in these interviews, there's like a certain order that I've always had these questions. Well, LadyKnight, being the wonderful self that she is, she said, I would prefer them to be in this order because they're more efficient. And your job is kind of also along the lines of like production and stuff like that, right? So we changed the order around, and actually they're fabulous now. Much, much better. They make more sense. So thank you, LadyKnight. So if you're wondering, they're going to be in a different order. From now on, I'm keeping this order because I like it.
Oh, cool.
So, yeah. So the first question is your channel name. Why did you name it that?
LadyKnight is actually from my time when I was in America as a foreign exchange student, and that was in like 89, 99, 98, 99 numbers. And the school that I went to, the mascot that they had was a knight. So the girls were called Lady Knights. And that kind of, like, that name was always in the back of my head. And I thought if I ever started a business or whatever kind, like, that would be my name, Lady Knight. And so I decided to take that for my YouTube channel. And Avalon, because when I first started, I had, like, as soon as I learned about Avalon, I just had this fascination with it. And one of my favorite cartoons that I watched was Gargoyles. And some of the storyline also takes place in Avalon with like Oberon and Titania and Puck, you know, a lot of characters from Midsummer Night's Dream. And so that's, I just put these two together and that's how the name came about.
Very cool. Gargoyles. That sounds really familiar.
Yeah, it was like a cartoon in the 90s, I think, when they used to live in, what was it, Scotland or something, and then they had like 1,000-year sleep, and then they were brought to Manhattan, and there they came to light again every night.
That's really cool. I'm not sure if I remember that or not, but I'll have to check that out. So how would you label your spiritual path?
That is actually the most difficult question out of all of them. Because the only thing I ever really said was if someone asked me, I would say I'm a witch. And if people ask me, well, what does that mean to you? I would say, well, for me, a witch, the way that I'm practicing, is someone who's very in tune with nature, who lives by the golden rule, harm none, and someone who's interested in divination and uses different tools to, well, a spell pretty much is like a prayer in church, so it's kind of a different religious path, and just using whatever I have around me. And yeah, that was my definition of a witch. And so it's not like, okay, I'm riding on a broomstick or something. So very, very centered in the here and now, and you know, using everything that I have. Which is like, I mean, the witches back in the days were like what we nowadays have in like drugstores, the people who put together the medicine. And back in the days, we had shamans and, you know, the medicine people of the tribe and everything. So it's not really that different. It's just a different name, different time. So that's how I explain it to people when they ask me what I mean by witch.
I think witches were also lawyers, yes, doctors, wise people that also intimidated, let's say, I don't know, people in power like the church. So they wanted to be, anyways. Anywho, so were you raised in your path, or did you veer off from your family?
I was not raised in the path. I grew up in a different political regime, which is known as former East Germany, or the German Democratic Republic. And that lasted until fall 1989. And that's when the wall came down. And so in East Germany, something like religion or even spirituality was not really a thing. I mean, there were people that went to churches, but they were like second, third class citizens because the church would tell them different things about the political regime, and they didn't like that. So no one would really talk about religion all that much, at least not in the part where I'm from. And so the only thing I ever heard about church was my grandma's experience. When she was a kid, she was born into a Protestant family. And when she was 5, her mom died. And when she was 12, her dad died. And then she went to church and asked the church guy, why did God take away my parents? And this guy really had the nerve to tell a grieving 12-year-old child, well, God punishes those the hardest, but he loves them most. And that was just it for my grandma. And she only did the 2 years until communion or whatever, that's when you're 14. And then she left church and never went back. And she kept all of us away from church because of that incident. And she thought that the church is not a good place. And her spirituality and also like her mom's and stuff, she also kept that very secret. It wasn't until I started investigating these kind of things when I was like 10, 11. I started getting curious because the satanic panic in the early 90s started coming up, and teen magazines would report about it, and my grandma saw me reading these, and they had these classic pictures of, you know, people in robes and everything, and you know, upside down crosses and stuff. So my grandma was very scared. But when I started talking to her about these kind of things, and she saw that I didn't change, she started opening up about her own spirituality, in the sense that she would have dreams of the future, that she would always have between Christmas and January 6th, like in those nights where every night represents 1 month in the upcoming year. And that's how, for example, when my mom was pregnant with me, in the night of July, she dreamt a girl. Because back in East Germany, there was no such thing as ultrasound to find out what you're having. And so my grandma had these dreams, and they always guided her. And I found out when I decided to live this life. And then my mom, she's very good with animals. Like, she just has this thing, they trust her, she can get close to them and stuff. So she's more like on that path, and also more like a kitchen witch. She has a really great thumb. And so they all kind of started exploring that as soon as I started. And yeah, so we kind of grew in this together, but no one was really raised in it.
I love that. So you were kind of like a guiding light. I mean, you took that from your grandma, obviously, but then you were like a guiding light, almost like, I wouldn't say forcefully, but helping light the way for others to see their own. You know, that's a beautiful thing. Do you feel supported by your family spiritually?
Very much. Like, my uncle, my mom, they all ask me for readings if I bring the cards with me. So every Christmas dinner we get together. After dinner, I take out the cards and we do readings and stuff. So yeah, they're very supportive.
That's really cool.
My mom, she has also asked me to put together little rituals for her that she would do for certain situations, and I would do that. So yeah.
That's cool. So Summer says, my significant other says Norse called their witches the angel of death. The witch woman who would slit throats, and Valkyrie are women too who took people to Valhalla. Yeah, I've always been very interested in the Valkyrie, like the warriors, you know, very freaking cool. Like Wonder Woman, right?
Yeah, kind of.
Well, they're Amazons, but
yeah. Well, for the Valkyrie, like, there's an entire opera about them. That's part 2 of the Ring Cycle, and explains a bit of their story. So yeah, they go and collect all the dead soldiers and bring them to Valhalla. So then in the afterlife, they can, you know, be ready again to fight.
yeah. So I have a question for you guys, because you're like really choppy for me, but I don't know if it's your connection or if it's my connection. So can you guys let me know whether or not you're seeing everything okay on my end? And if it's choppy, or because I hear a lot of like white noise. Do you hear that on your end?
Is that maybe my, like the air thing of my laptop? Because I can't tell.
Your fan?
Yeah.
I don't know. Let's see what they say. If they're hearing it choppy when I'm talking, or whether or not, because there's definitely some sort of delay or something going on.
I'm not seeing anything.
Well, maybe it's just me then. That's what I'm saying. I don't know.
Choppy for her. Jade is okay.
You guys are, it's choppy for you too. Am I choppy, or just froze up for me again for like a second?
Sorry about that.
It's great, but sounds choppy when LadyKnight talks. Okay. What I was going to suggest really quick then, honey, if you could maybe go out of it, X out of it, and then get back in using that link again. And maybe that will correct it. I know that we've had issues with my sister like that as well.
So I'll do leave studio?
Leave studio, yep, and then come back in with that again.
Okay, I'll try that.
All right, thank you. Okay, so we'll try that. Hopefully, I mean, and she is in Germany, so we've got quite a distance between us. So I don't know if it has anything to do with that. But so, oh, here we go. All right. We'll see if that's any better. No. Are you on your phone or are you on your laptop?
I'm on my laptop.
Okay. Do you have a good connection on your phone?
Nah, I just have, nah, not really.
Not really. Okay, well, we'll just deal with it. We'll just deal with it. I'm just trying to help if we can, but it is what it is, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you feel a stronger connection with a certain element?
Water. Water is definitely, I'm a water sign, and that has always been the strongest for me that I feel connected to. Like even down to, as a kid, in the summer when we would go to the lake to go swimming, my mom had to drag me out of the water. Like even my lips were blue, and she was like, "You're freezing." And I'm like, "No, I'm okay. I want to stay in the water." So yeah, definitely.
I love that. Your lips were blue. That's cute. Do you have a favorite season of the year?
Right now, actually, I love May because that's when certain things start blooming, and I can hear the blackbirds singing.
You're going to have to turn that off right now. I'm sorry. I am sorry. Let me mute myself.
So yeah, going outside in the spring is really, really nice, and hearing the birds in the morning when you wake up, it's already light outside. I have to get up. That's what I don't like about the winter, all the darkness. And so, yeah, spring, when everything starts to become green again and the flowers are starting, that's my season.
Awesome. And do you use divination? And if so, what types of divination do you use?
I do. I use mostly tarot and a little bit of oracle in there as well. I want to learn more about astrology because I just know a bit of basics, but I want to learn more about that so that I can find out if I can maybe mix it with tarot, or like how I can use it maybe. And in the very beginning when I started, I also used pendulum, but that was not really my thing, so I stopped doing that. And I also do like spell work to ask certain things, and in that, I mean, I'm talking to someone up there, over there, I don't know. But yeah, that's mostly it. But for the most part, tarot.
Right on. So you were talking about you being, astrological water sign. So what is your sign?
I am a Cancer all the way. That is
Cancer.
Typical Cancer.
That doesn't surprise me, actually. The times that we have done the Mystic Mondays, you've actually done, even though I know you beat yourself up, you're actually really good at that. So you've got that watery psychic energy going on.
Yeah. Which is kind of ironic because if I look at my astrological chart, air is actually the element that is the most in there. Like I got 5 planets in air signs and only like 2 in fire, 2 in water, and 1 in earth or so. And so, but air is actually the element that I don't really have any connection to. At least I don't know how. But yeah, it seems to be the most dominant, but I'm not working with it.
No, you definitely do. Maybe you're not seeing it, but you definitely do. I mean, you are a massive knowledge seeker. I know this because you and I have talked about conspiracies and stuff that's going on in the world.
Yeah.
That's the air. That's the air sign. That's
So
the
then,
thought
yeah, I
process.
you investigate a lot. Like I'm definitely like that was the most fun about being like in journalism, the getting to the nitty gritty.
Right on. So, what are your tarot birth cards?
My birth card, I think I only have one because my number is 23, and so that goes down to 5. Is the Hierophant, and I might be able to see some aspects of the Temperance card in me too, but for the most part, it's the Hierophant. And it actually did take me a long time to come to terms with that because when I saw the typical Hierophant card deck, it was always like this Pope figure, and I was like, nah, not me. How can that be my birth card? But yeah, looking at it from like the spiritual teacher kind of aspect, really diving into the whole spirituality and having an affinity to maybe guide people. So maybe there is something that I haven't seen before, and I'm exploring that. And yeah, I'm liking the Hierophant more and more.
I have never looked at the Hierophant. Like, even though traditionally it looks like the Pope, right? I don't see it like that. I see it as a spiritual teacher. And that spiritual teacher can come in many forms, whether that be a yoga teacher, whether that be somebody that's teaching witchcraft or paganism, or whether it's your children or your parents, or, you know, so I love that card. And it could also be the teacher or the student, being a student of life and experience. And so I love it. I think it's a wonderful card. So obviously then you're a life path 5, right?
Yeah. Especially like with a card like this where the Hierophant has black eyes like a demon. That's not very comforting, but yeah, now I can work with it. I'm not scared with the wrong thing, but like get away from me. I'm not like that anymore.
I guess if it's negatively aspected, then it could be, you know, looking for having the wrong teacher. You're being guided by the wrong teacher or something like that. I could see it that way too. But so let's see. Amy said you are a good communicator and you use those air skills in your job. Absolutely.
Yeah. I think I may have to read a little bit more about the air sign or everything related to air.
Johnny says, I have a new witch's hat. It is my cowboy hat as a witch's hat. Now that'd be okay to use my cowboy hat for a witch's hat. Absolutely. I think it's cool. And I've seen your hat, sweetie. It's really, really cool. Hi, Mooncrone. And that's Smokey. I don't know if you can hear him. He's meowing.
He is a little bit.
So, yeah, he wants to get in my daughter's room. So he's literally sitting right at her door, meowing really loud at her. He does this all night because they do not let him in their rooms because he's that cat. I told you. Imagine this on the coffee table next to it, right? He'll look right at you and go like this.
The asshole cat.
He is. Yes, he is. I call him the lazy gargoyle because he doesn't sit like this. He'll get up on the banister and sprawl all of his legs like this and just like lay on it.
Cool.
It's funny. So, what is your significator card in the tarot? Do you know?
Well, for the longest time, I used, if I wanted to have a significator, the Queen of Cups, because Cups water my element, and since there was like the Avalon Tarot, or what's it called, Legend Avalon, something like that, was one of my first decks that I got, and so it has like the classic Page, Knight, Queen thing. So there was only one woman, so I took the Queen. But according to the Myers-Briggs, I'm actually the Page of Cups.
Interesting.
that. I can see that. I think the young in my mind kind of energy, I call it the Peter Pan syndrome, like not really wanting to grow up. Growing up is like, you know, a lot of responsibility and stuff, and no playtime, and so yeah, I can definitely see the page energy in me.
I can see that in you, but I can also see the Queen of Cups too.
I can be if I need to be, yeah.
Yeah. It also reminds me of the Toys R Us commercials. Do you ever, I don't know, with being over in Germany, if you ever seen those. The ones, I don't want to grow up, I'm a Toys R Us kid. There's a million toys at Toys R Us that I can play with. My husband and I used to, when Toys R Us was big, we were in there every weekend. Not for the kids, but for ourselves, okay? Yeah.
Well, my man is also like that. He's a big kid at heart. Like, yeah, he loves his PlayStation and stuff like that, and also like grown-up stuff. It's boring.
It's right.
Or sometimes we just do card games, board games, and stuff. Like, just have some fun playtime.
Mm-hmm.
The dishes can wait.
So, do you have a current favorite deck right now?
A couple actually, and I brought visual aid. So something that I'm working with is like the past life things that I'm doing, and I love the art history tarot for past lives, and I'm combining that with the stretch tarot because these two together are such a good combination, and I use this for like the outside perspective and this the inside perspective, and that together gives me like a really good, well-rounded story to work with, and I'm still working on getting through the workbook, which I'm doing a little bit at a time. And yeah, that is actually really cool, and I love it. And as soon as I'm done with that one for the first life that I'm investigating, I'm going to write the next one because this is really fascinating. And I love doing that because when I use these past life readings, I try to see how I can connect that past life to this life and how I feel about certain things that the other person or me experienced, and how would I react in that situation. And so on different things like family relations and everything, that's really cool. And I'm so grateful that this deck was put together. And that is really cool. And another favorite of mine, and that will always be a favorite of mine, is the Royalish Tarot. And this is the brand new version that came out in English just in April. And I have the first edition German cards, the large ones. I've got the small Spanish version, the medium-sized Czech version with gilded edges. So yeah, I really love this deck. And then, yeah, the Lo Scarabeo tarot is definitely a favorite that I work with. And then I'm trying to get into the Golden Dawn right now because I have this Initiatory Golden Dawn right there. And I'm not really working with it the way that I was hoping I would want to. And so I got a couple other decks, like older Golden Dawn decks, that have really large guidebooks so that I can get more familiar with this whole Golden Dawn system, the Order of the Golden Dawn, what were they thinking when they created these things, so that I can then learn how to work with this deck a lot better with the symbols that are used and everything. And yeah, so that is going to be my next project, diving into the Golden Dawn.
I love how deep you go. I mean, seriously, so deep. I love that. You know, there is like doing things on the surface, you know, just picking up a deck and just using it. I cannot do that. I like to research it, like the thought. I still am not using it in readings because I'm still reading the books. I almost feel like I'm like betraying myself if I start using it before I have finished the books. Do you kind of feel that way?
Yeah, I can see. Well, for me, it's not so much the betraying, but it's like I could get so much more out of it if I get the background information Otherwise, I may overlook something that might be really important, and I'm just not seeing it because I don't know about it.
Yeah. That's a better way of explaining it. Not really betraying, but feeling like I don't have all the information to make the most informed decision or choices with what I have in front of me. You know, because I have done readings with it, but they're on my own personal readings. I mean, I haven't done readings for anybody else with it. And I'm like reading out of the book as I'm doing it, trying to take everything in, you know.
Yeah.
But I do find the Golden Dawn, the whole system of, because once you, from my understanding, once you reached a certain level, you were required in order to make your own tarot deck. That was part of being in the Golden Dawn. So that's why you see so many other people that had tarot decks, and they had to base it on something.
I would love to see that original deck.
Yeah.
No one really knows what it looks like. But from what I read, the Hermetic Tarot, which is something I'm getting this month, is the closest to the original. And so I'm getting that one as well. And then I'm going to go through the guidebooks and work my way down the line. And also have some books from Israel Regardier, I'm not sure how to pronounce him, on my book wish list that I want to get in the next couple months. So yeah.
Very cool. And I love also that you do past life readings. That is my #1 kind of reading that I love doing. I need to get those 2 decks, seriously, or at least that past lives, the history for past lives or whatever. I really want that. So, let's see. What decks are you currently working with? Are those the ones that you're also working with?
Well, when I do readings for myself, I usually just pick whatever I feel like. Like sometimes I would just take an oracle deck and draw a card, or what's something else? Like I had the Tarot of the Old Path, I think it's called. I used that one in the beginning of the year for a while. So yeah, that's always different. Since I have quite a few to choose from, I just grab whatever feels right in the moment. But there are certainly some that I come back to more than others, like the Ulrich or the Scarabeo. Those are definitely in there.
Awesome. I keep on trying to mute myself just in case little man goes in a, So, are you, okay, this was the next question, obviously. This is like one of my favorite questions, especially for the tarot community at large. Inquiring minds always want to know, right? At least this inquiring mind does. So, are you a current collector of tarot decks? And if so, how many tarot decks do you own right now?
I think I'm in the 80s. I don't know exactly how many because I put the last ones on my list already, but I'm in the 80s. So I'm moving forward slowly in the direction of 100. And once I reach that, like number 100 will be something special. Don't know what it's going to be yet, but that will definitely be a purchase that I will celebrate as number 1. And I think I could call myself a collector because I have many. Some I have because I just enjoy the artwork and I'm not really working with them, but I love looking at the images. And yeah, I think I'm a collector.
I'm definitely a collector. I've seen other people, and I think maybe it's because people are afraid to really put it out there, because once you're on a public format, people just want to rip apart sometimes the things that you say, or, you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't collect this, you shouldn't do this, I'm a collector. I am proud to be a collector. People collect things all the time. What difference does it make?
Yeah, I mean, back in the days, people collected records and had shelves full of records, and other people have a library full of books, and, other people, like rich people, collect cars or whatever. So everyone has their thing to collect, and there's nothing wrong with collecting tarot decks. I mean, Those people need a hobby.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, how many times have people collected like little knickknacks that you see, or dishes, or I mean, that was always the thing. They would be up on the walls, or you'd have knickknacks on everything, like little cats, and there's nothing wrong with that. I say to each their own. What makes you happy, right? As long as you're not doing it and taking every little bit of cash that you got and not feeding your family because you're collecting tarot decks,
Yeah.
which, you know.
But in Germany, we have these, I don't know if they're allowed in America, these little chocolate eggs that have like a toy in them, like Kinder eggs or whatever they're called. And they have some sets of 10 little figures that you could collect, and some are more easy to get than others. And as a kid, like everyone in my class, we would collect these, we would trade and everything. And some people had boxes full of them at home, and other people were putting out catalogs and telling you how much they were worth and stuff. Like, so yeah, that, like, there is a collector's thing to be found everywhere.
Yeah. Jade says, collectors unite. I did a mini little rant on this on my intro video the other day. I'm going to have to go and check that out. Absolutely. I honestly believe everyone collects something, even though they might not even realize it. Absolutely. And I will tell you, those chocolate eggs never would have lasted for me because I would have ate them.
Yeah.
I never would have been able to collect them.
Is always because you could hear those things in their move, and we would always be like, you would always see people in a grocery store being like shaking those eggs, trying to hear if there's something you have to assemble, or if there are these little figurines that, and like, are they heavier? Is that like trying to find these things? Like it was a cult, kind of. It was a whole thing.
Gosh.
It was cool.
Kinder eggs not allowed in Canada.
Yeah, I was in America, they were also not allowed because, swallowing that stuff. But here they just put a disclaimer in that they're not for kids below the age of 3. And then, yeah, I don't see what the problem is. I mean, why can't people in other countries enjoy them too?
Viola said, oh, I used to love them, but mostly for the candy. Right on. Yeah. I love the Cadbury eggs are really good, but I love the orange, like balls that you have to like, they're really prevalent around like Easter, but you have to like smack them on the end, and then you open them up, and they're like orange flavored chocolate. They look like little orange wedges. Oh, that's just too good. See, you got me thinking about chocolate now. Damn it. No, I'm just joking. So has your reading style changed over time, would you say?
It has. And I would say it was from like predictive to helpful. And like in the beginning, when I started with my first set of cards, I was always very like, I thought a tarot reader had to predict the future. And so I would always try to look into the future with my readings, and those were the kind of questions that me or other people would ask. And then over time, I thought, well, I don't really want to know the future that much, because I want to rather use my intuition and my gut feeling to kind of see if I can figure out what's going on my own. And then I thought, well, how can I change my reading style? Also because everyone has this one friend probably who always comes to you for a love reading, and they keep asking the same question because they don't want to hear the answer you give them the first, second, or third time. And so when you would do the same reading over and over again, I thought, well, how can I do a different reading and get that across for them to hear, so that they will work on something? And that's when I started telling people, okay, ask me a question that is either why or what or how, so that we can look into that and you can find a path to take that will either lead you to what you want, or if the cards tell you what's going to happen if you take a step, like step A, B, and C, if you don't like it, well, then do something different. And that's when that changed. When it was mostly because that one person asked me the same question over and over again.
Yeah, expecting a different answer, but yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
So, do you have any daily rituals that you do?
Except for needing like 2 hours in the morning to become a human being, not really.
Okay, what does that entail?
Yeah, so I get up at like 6:30 in the morning and then very slowly go to the bathroom. Then I make my tea and I sit down. Maybe I watch an episode of a show, whatever is on the day, or some YouTube videos, and then I slowly ease into the day before I get ready to go outside. And I'm also like in the morning, I wouldn't say that I'm not a morning person, but I'm not really talkative in the mornings. So like when I get up, I don't need to answer a bunch of questions. So in the morning, I just want to do my thing. I don't really listen to radio or anything. So I'm just like slowly waking up. But that's like my ritual. Watching some videos in the morning and then getting ready for work.
Sorry.
Yeah.
All right. So, do you remember your dreams? And do you do dream work?
Unfortunately, I don't. Like, maybe I have like 2 dreams a year that I remember, and I don't really. Like, I can sleep like a rock, and I wake up in the morning, and there's like nothing, unless I wake up in the middle of the night, and then I go to sleep for like an hour or 2 before I have to get up. Then sometimes I start having some dreams. But as soon as I wake up and I try to think about them, they're like gone. Like I couldn't even have the time to write them down because they're just instantly gone.
I mean, since this whole thing has happened with us being in quarantine and stuff, I have not, I mean, I know that I'm dreaming. For like a split second after I wake up, I'm like, oh, wow. But then, like you said, it just like leaves me. That's not normal for me. So I don't know why that is, other than the fact of, and I'm thinking, is it just because we're not supposed to remember? We're just supposed to work through it, whatever it is that we're dealing with, and then forget about it. Just forget about it. Who knows?
Yeah.
So, what is your favorite holiday or Sabbath?
I don't really think I have a favorite holiday or Sabbath. Like, I'm glad when I remember the Sabbath. I'm just like, oh crap, that was 2 days ago. Like I'm just busy with other stuff, and I always forget. I know. But yeah, for me, the best holiday or Sabbath anything is like probably getting together with my family whenever that is. I treat that as kind of like a holiday, especially since we live in different cities. So we don't see each other that often. But that would be like a Sabbath or holiday for me.
Right on. I love that. It is always the most wonderful thing when you can get together with family, especially when you have a family like you do, where you guys can all come together and talk about everything that you're going through, even spiritually, the things that are important to you, and finding like that middle ground, even though you're on different paths. That thing that connects you still. That's the most wonderful thing. So, do you work with crystals? If so, what are your favorite crystals?
I don't really work with crystals. I tried that. That was also something that I tried in my earlier years. And I just never really got the hang of it. I got a book that explains how to treat them. Like some you recharge underwater, some with sunlight, some you don't put in water, all that stuff. And I can't even like tell them apart except for the really obvious, like the purple amethyst and the clear quartz, and then there's the rose quartz and lapis lazuli and stuff, and green aventurine. But beyond that, it's like when they have different colors and stuff, I'm lost. So I don't really work with crystals. I have some amethyst that I got in Canada during my exchange here. We went to Thunder Bay, and they gave us a big bucket and a sledgehammer and told us to have fun. So we got some amethyst, and I still got some of those. And I do have a selenite right next to my bed, one of those selenite towers. And I do have some moldavite that I got recently, but I haven't worked with it because I think I want to find out how to, I don't know, like cleanse it at first, because I don't know if the energy in there is, I don't know, one of them gave me kind of like a feeling that touched it as if it was taking energy from me instead of giving me energy. So that was kind of weird. Like I felt kind of weird after that.
Oh, wow. I don't have any moldavite yet, but man, I would really like some. Just saying. So Johnny says, I have a new drum. It is tin can as a my drum now. That's really cool, honey. Jake says, don't talk to me until I have my coffee. Yeah, well, don't talk to me until about a half an hour after I've had either my coffee or tea or whatever. I'm like you. I'm just like, when I was a kid, waking up, I mean, I had so many goose eggs on my head because I would run into walls and everything else because I was not like all the way completely awake yet. I need like time to acclimate myself to being awake again because I sleep so heavy and dream so hard usually that it just totally,
Yeah.
like being in a different world. So Amy says, when a dream sticks with me, I know that it's worth exploring, but I have to write down the details as soon as possible. Absolutely. Absolutely. Oh, you painted it too. That's really cool, Johnny. Really cool. So, do you have a special skill or hobby that you would like to discuss?
Well, in my first life, like from when I was 8 to 21, I was a hobby dancer. And dancing was something that as a kid I wanted to become a professional dancer, but that was not really in the cards for me because that meant like expensive ballet school, like boarding school, stuff like that. And my mom also, like, she was like, what's the opposite of homesick? Like, she wanted to keep me home because she didn't want me to go away. And so, yeah, that was not the cards for me. And something else that I do is I do like paper craft stuff, like making these mini albums for like scrapbook stuff, and yeah, like paper crafting. And I have a YouTube channel. I do some YouTube videos, about spirituality and tarot and stuff.
Right on. Have you done any videos showing any like paper art that you've done? Do you like do journaling and stuff like that?
I have a different channel that I haven't put anything on in like ever since I got involved with tarot again. But yeah, there is another channel also by the name of LadyKnight. Not sure.
Oh. Okay. Do you currently have a favorite book or artist?
Book, not so much. Artist, well, the artist who created the Roerich Tarot, he is definitely one of my favorites. And when I bought the deck, he also sent this large postcard, and it even came with like a personal note and everything. And this image, is just really perfect because it's a musical instrument, and there's like little musical notes, and there's water, which is so me. And I'm going to frame that and put that in my office at work. And yeah. And other than that, I mean, favorite artists are like the people that I work with at the Opera House. There are definitely some people that inspire me. Some directors or singers that I met. And what I love is I love to watch them work and how they go about the different projects, because there are some people who have been in their field of work for years and years, and it's really cool to see them when they're like really calm, they don't yell at people, but they still get their point across, people listen to them. And then there are the newcomers who are like really anxious and they freak out when something doesn't go according to plan. And watching human behavior is something that I really enjoy, because I also try to reflect it back to me, like, okay, if I was in that situation, would I like to be talked at in that way? Or if I talk to people like that, like, why would I do that? And so, yeah, the artists that I work with, they are definitely a big inspiration for me, for my work, and how I, go about it, like in the world, meeting people, working with people.
That's funny. And you don't see the air sign in you. You don't see the air. The
Well,
fact that you're,
I'm going to look more closely now.
I was going to say, the fact that you are always looking at human nature and the intellect and how people do things, right? That's also, communication, all that. That's definitely all air. So, do you have a current TV series that you are enjoying?
So many. One of my absolute favorites that I'm watching, and I'm kind of bummed that they take such a long time to finish it, is Supernatural. I mean, we're in the last season, and I don't even remember when the last episode was there. And I just want to get to the end, and I want to know what happens, and, do they make it? Do they not make it? Who makes it? And yeah, so I love a lot of like witchy stuff and alien stuff, science fiction, and that kind of stuff. I also like criminal procedure a little bit. Like, what was that? Criminal Minds was definitely a show I enjoyed very much. Right now, SWAT is a show that I really like, because the one guy from Criminal Minds is also on that show. And yeah, that's also like the whole like Criminal Minds, finding out how people behave. So that's definitely something I guess I do see there. And yeah, so many cartoons that I love from back in the 90s, and things that I watched. I love Sailor Moon. Yeah, I tried to write down a list of all the shows I enjoyed. I'm still not finished. It's a very, very long list over so many pages.
That's how I am. But you know what? I honestly think that that's how we learn and grow also. Not only our own experiences, but because a movie or a story or a book, those are stories.
Yeah.
I love sitting down and talking with elderly people and them telling me their life stories and things that were happening in their life at a certain time period, It's just fascinating to me. So, do you have a favorite witch movie or series?
Well, Practical Magic is definitely one of my favorites. The first witch movie I ever saw was Teen Witch. I don't know if many people remember that movie. It was about this girl. She was in high school, and she was like 16 years old or something. And all of a sudden, she discovered there was something more to her. And then she had this little old lady, like she was really just a little lady, who took her under her wing and taught her everything. And that's in that movie I learned about like having a grimoire or book of shadows and writing everything in there. And that movie taught me not to do any luck spells because they do backfire. And of course I tried it, and of course it backfired. Not like in the movie, but so yeah, that movie was actually my first real like teaching moment in my. I think I saw that when I was like 13 or 14, and yeah, when I was 17, Practical Magic came out, and I think I saw Craft around that time as well. And so yeah, those are definitely some favorites. And TV shows, what was it, The Witches of East End? about that TV show that only had 2 seasons. That was not that long ago. And I was so bummed when they didn't finish it because right about the time when it gets good, they stop. And that one I enjoyed because shows they take a while to get good. First season is never really that good. So yeah. And I also watch like Vampire Diaries, the originals, and Legacies, which also has some witchcraft in it. And yeah.
Right on. I loved The Witches of East End because there was so much about past life stuff in that.
Yes, yes.
Which is very, very cool. And seeing repeating patterns and stuff like that. And yes, the CW shows. Yeah, definitely. I don't know if it's CW over there.
No, we don't. But some of the shows they come up on our German channels. They translate them or like have like different stuff, and so they have them in German. But I'm watching the original ones because I want to know what they really say, and it's almost always more funny in the original than in the translated version. And also, one show that I also really like is The 100, which is like post-apocalyptic stuff, being in space and stuff. So yeah.
Very good. Yeah, I love the Vampire Diaries. Yes, the 100, which you can watch the 100 on Netflix now.
I just have Amazon Prime, but I have ways of watching.
We're just going to leave it at that, right? Yeah.
I know my way around it.
Yeah. So, do you prefer coffee or tea?
Tea. I don't drink coffee. Like, I don't like the taste of it. I don't like how it feels in my stomach. So, coffee is not really my thing. So, tea is definitely for me.
Okay. Well, what tea then?
The bad kind, the one that is like this ready-made stuff. You just add water and you stir it, and it's basically just a bunch of sugar with flavor.
Okay. Is there?
If I had to pick a tea, it would probably be something red, like some red berries. That's my favorite.
Fruity. Yeah. We have quite similar taste in series, LadyKnight, Viola said. Yeah. So, is there a time period that you feel drawn to other than now?
Well, I think the Victorian England, I would like to visit to see what it was really like. I have been really fascinated with old Egyptian culture, like ancient Egypt, like in my late teen years. And yeah, I watched a lot of movies like Stargate, SG-1, like going into the whole Egyptian theme. And so that was very fascinating, but I haven't done any more research on it lately. But I think I would be interested in many time periods, but only as a visitor, not to live there. Because I do enjoy the comfort of my own bathroom. And in older times, like, yeah, like even the Dark Ages or something might be really interesting, but the bathroom situation, no.
Yeah. I can completely see that. And that's me. I would want to be a spectator because it's about obtaining more knowledge of seeing how it really was rather than how it's been depicted or written throughout history. So, yeah. But definitely not to stay, right? If you could have a deep conversation with anyone during any time in history, who would it be and why?
I probably would like to have a conversation with family members that I never met because they passed away so soon. Like, for example, my grandma's parents died when she was so young. Also because my great-grandma, she was also interested either in cards or astrology. My grandma couldn't really remember. And so sitting down and talking with them about, because even back then, like before the Second World War, times were really different and how people treated spirituality back then before the First World War, going back down the family line especially, like how they used abilities or gifts or anything of that matter in their life. Were they aware of it? So that would be really interesting for me to sit down with like a family tree. And like fictional characters or spiritual characters, I think I would love to sit down with Lucifer, believe it or not, because I think he has some interesting stuff to tell. I don't personally see him as like the bad guy of all of the world, because I think he's just doing his job. That's like my take on it, because he was like put in charge of hell. They told him to do that. He's doing it, and like he's not punishing good people down there. Like he's punishing the bad people. So good people have nothing to worry about. And this whole thing, like, oh, the devil made me do it, is like, okay, if the devil made you do it, then maybe you were just too weak to stand your ground, and don't blame that on someone else. So yeah, I would love to get his side of the story.
I never expected that, but absolutely. Who wouldn't want to know what really happened? I mean, because, I mean, the way that I see it now, you know how I am about Anunnaki and the Nephilim and aliens, right? Well, the brothers Enlil and Enki from ancient Sumeria, the Anunnaki, okay? One was considered, from what I've read, to be the serpent in the Garden of Eden, and one was Yahweh in the Garden of Eden. But the one who was the serpent is the one who was actually supposed to be Enki, who was the one who engineered and was trying to help humanity with knowledge and given them the ability to evolve and not be killed by Yahweh, who was Enlil, who was in control. I mean, it's just a sordid story, but so to actually, you know, be a fly on the tree that was actually watching how things really took place and who the real bad guy is. Yeah. Because why would it be bad to eat from the apple of knowledge, or to eat from the tree of knowledge?
Exactly.
And why is it that women are the ones that brought about the fall of man? If a woman had free will in order to make that choice, wouldn't the guy have had free will to make that choice? Considering it was him that was the original. She was a copy made from him, right? But it's the woman that takes the fall for it. Come on, something's not adding up there for me. Never did. So, anywho, sorry, little rant.
Had to have, like, his second wife was made from him to be obedient, because the first one ran away because she was fed up with him. So, just saying.
Exactly. Exactly. If you could go to any event in history, what would it be and why?
All of them.
Yeah.
I would go to the grand opening of the pyramids to see what they really originally looked like, because somewhere I heard that they originally had like color on them, like they were white or red or something. And I would love to see like the Sphinx in like the original state that it was created in. I would love to go to ancient Rome or Greece and just observe like the big philosophers and everything. I would probably, yeah, a lot of European history, to just go there and see if what we learned in school is actually what really happened, and to see how the people lived, what they did. I would love to see Versailles when it was built by Louis XIV. So yeah, a lot of the really important things that we learned about in history class, I would love to see.
Definitely. I love that. That's why I said, and I've said it just about every time, let's get a time machine and let's just go exploring, right? And I'm saving you a chair.
We just
Yeah,
have to be sure that we don't mess up anything.
exactly. We won't be messing with any timelines.
Yeah.
We're just spectators, okay? I think there's a show like that.
And we also have to make sure not to have any cell phones. I mean, you know, these photographs of like back in the days when someone was having a cell phone. Don't keep your cell phone with you.
Exactly. Yeah. Somebody popping in from history, right?
Yeah. Wearing sunglasses and stuff like that at the time when they didn't have any.
Exactly. So, do you have a website?
No. I have a YouTube channel and I have an Instagram channel.
Okay. And those are both down below. And I canceled out the other, having it open. That's usually what I do. But just because our connection, I didn't know if it was me and I don't want to push it a little bit. So I didn't put it on there. But it is down below in the description, guys, her channel. So if you are not already subscribed, please go check it out. And also her Instagram, a link to that. So, okay. How long have you been on YouTube?
The very first channel that I started just to hide some work stuff there if I needed, that was like in November 2008. And my arts and crafts channel was maybe 2000, I don't know, probably 2015 or something. And in summer 2018, I started my YouTube channel for tarot and spirituality.
Right on. So what is the direction that you envision for your channel?
I definitely want to finish that Storytime with the Lover's Path tarot series that I've been taking a break from for such a long time, but I hope that I can continue making those videos outside because I really love that. I'm also trying to do some research for another series that I want to do. And with that one, I'm going to do it a bit differently because I'm going to do the research, I'm going to film the videos, I'm going to edit everything, upload it, and then when everything's uploaded, then I will release them, so there won't be a break. But I don't know when that will be finished. And I definitely want to treat my channel as kind of like a diary of my path, so that like 20 years from now, when I look back at my videos, I'm like, oh, that's what I did at that point in time, because I'm not really big on journaling with writing. And so I figured these videos are probably an easier way to keep track of what I'm doing at a specific time in my life and how I did things, what I was thinking about these things. And so, yeah, for me, my channel is mostly like a time capsule for myself. And in the meantime, I want to use the channel, of course, to get in contact with others, with like-minded people, because I don't have any tarot people around me in real life. I tried getting one interested in tarot because he's been coming to me for readings, and I picked a tarot deck for his birthday, and I was hoping maybe he would be interested, and then I would have someone to talk to. It's not. And so, yeah, having these people here on YouTube that I can talk to and exchange knowledge with, learn from them, and, you know, just really inspiring each other. That is what I want from this channel.
Awesome. So that's what you wish to gain too, right?
Yeah. Like, connections, friendships, like even though we don't see each other in real life, and so it's like a different kind of friendship than we would normally have, but this interaction with others and yeah, helping each other move along on this path that we're on, and answering questions that someone might have, asking questions, getting help from others. So that is really something that I enjoy about this, and I'm so grateful that we have this platform, that we can do this, because I don't know, when I started, it was just a few dusty books in the library that I would check out and read, and I would have videos of like Erich von Däniken or something, and that was pretty much it. And so just to see how far everything has come like in the last 25 years is amazing, and I love it. And so yeah, I'm going to embrace this journey here on YouTube full on.
Right on. Mooncrone says, if I went back in time, I would so hear my mother's voice in my head telling me what she always said when we went to the store when I was little. Look, don't touch. Exactly.
That is so tempting, right?
I know, really it is. This has been awesome. Is it okay if we open it up for other questions?
Sure.
So if anybody has any questions for Maria, please just let us know. I think that is so wonderful. I love how your mind works. I see a lot of very common interests between you and I, as far as the history, actually wanting to know the true history. Because, I mean, look at the Vatican, all of the archives underneath that are stored away where people don't know histories. The library, the Alexandrian library or the Great Library destroyed, right? All that information. What really happened in Atlantis, the fall of Atlantis, you know, the pyramids, yes. Oh, that's so interesting. I mean, look at how many times when a new dynasty would come in that they would go through and destroy everything so that it was their dynasty. You know, defacing statues and hieroglyphics and covering stuff up, essentially rewriting what real history was.
But it's not only the people who take over who do that, because I saw that when East Germany ended, the people who like here in East Germany who wanted this to end, they helped destroy the old stuff so that they could get rid of it. Now it's kind of like, we were a bit too quick because now we don't have access to all that stuff anymore. So yeah, sometimes the people, they help destroy these things.
Oh yes, yes. Mooncrone says, I'm giddy just finding out someone gets as excited about the Anunnaki and connecting the dots as I do. Oh, yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Maria, would you ever create your own deck? Maybe a theater tarot?
I'm working on it. I'm creating it for me, and it's about like opera stuff and taking some inspiration from the way that the Lover's Path Tarot or the New Mythic Tarot are designed, trying to have like different stories for the minors. And it's not so easy to pick the right kind of opera for each suit. But yeah, I'm working on that to also practice a little bit more with the meaning of the cards and everything. So if I choose the stories, then yeah, I think that will be a good practice for me. And we'll see how that turns out.
Yeah, that sounds fascinating. And coming from your perspective, because of working in an opera house, I mean, who else is going to get a better perspective than that, honestly?
Well, there is an opera deck already out there, but I think it's like an indie deck, and I've seen some cards online, but that's not the direction that I have in mind. Like they use actual singers from opera that are like Pavarotti and things like that in those cards, but that is not the way that I want to go.
You want to depict the actual stories, right? Not the actors.
That's what I love about the Lover's Path Tarot. I haven't been working with it a ton. Like I did these couple of readings at the Opera House and some that weren't on camera. And I love that I can just take that moment of the story in the card and learn so much from it, whether it's in the majors or in the minors, where it's like a whole story split into 10 cards. But yeah, that's why I'm doing that series as well, because I think I can work with that deck so much better once I go through all of the stories and I know what it's all about, because they have been chosen very carefully, and I can see why they were chosen for these cards. And yeah, that just gives me another level to the basic tarot meanings that we have all studied. And I just love that. And that's what I want to create for myself as well in that deck, that I just want to go a little bit beyond that. Because
How
that
long
also
have you?
easier for me to remember.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. It's that association and the association of stuff that you know so well.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like people learning how to read for the very first time that are huge Game of Thrones people, and they get the Game of Thrones tarot, right?
Yeah.
It's like almost like an instant connection.
Yeah. Certain scenes, whether it's like was it the Ten of Swords in that deck where Jon Snow was like the traitor thing, and you know that scene from the show, and then you make that connection. Yeah, that's actually brilliant in that way.
Yeah. How long have you been reading, honey? That's not something that I asked.
I started reading with normal playing cards when I was 14, and I did that for like 1 or 2 years with a friend. But the book that I had was not really good because it could always, like, one card in like combination with another card. It was not like, okay, this card, for example, the Queen of Hearts, she means that, and that it was always like, no, in combination with that card, it means that. So you would always have these combinations, and that didn't really work for me. And back then, I didn't have access to any tarot decks until summer of '99 when I came back from America. I saw the Sailor Moon Tarot in my newspaper shop, and I just got it. And from there on, I was in love. I was hooked. That was it. And for the longest time, I only had like 5 decks. And it was only after discovering Tarot Tube in the summer of 2018 that I saw all these decks, because after, like, in the 2005-ish time period, I tried to get the Atlantis Tarot. That was like the one that I still wanted to get on top of the 5 that I already had. And when that one was out of stock and I waited too long, I was like done looking at decks, and I just bought the ones I had. I saw all these deck walkthroughs and stuff. I just couldn't resist, and that's why I have over 80 now.
I was just gonna say, I mean, there are so many enablers, seriously, and I know that we are as well. I watched some of your videos going, oh, damn, another one I want now. It's terrible, you guys, but you know what?
After having so many decks, now I'm getting to a point where I'm getting really picky. And in the beginning, it was just like, oh, this, like, first of all, everyone has it. It's really pretty. I want that too. And then it went to, oh, that's really pretty. I want it. I don't care if everyone has it. And for a moment there, I had also that hunting thing, like trying to get them out of print decks that I wanted to have. And the thrill of getting them was really exciting. And now I'm at that point where I can say, okay, the decks that I'm getting either have to be really, really pretty, where I say, okay, I'm going to spend that money, or it's something like this one, for example. I don't think I'm going to read with it because it's not really my art style, but I'm getting them for a specific purpose to study and to compare with others. So yeah, at least I'm spending that dime.
Hi, Jessica. See, that's me. I am to the point now where it's not that I'm regretting any purchases that I've made, but I'm reflecting on the purchases that I've made, and I'm like, well, okay, now do I really need that? Or can I use this, like the Vedic astrology that I'm still waiting on that I want really bad? It's because the shop is closed down still. It's the one from Julianne Victoria. It's a study deck. So I want to learn about Vedic astrology, and I find it very easy to learn when I have, like, it's almost like going back to school with flashcards.
Yeah.
So it's not like I'm necessarily going to be using them in readings, but it's for my own
Exactly.
educational purposes. Yeah, study purposes. So, yes, Tarot Tube is not good for the wallet. No, it's not.
No one said it was.
Right, exactly.
Disclaimer. Yeah, and I even have some decks in my collection that I haven't even built a connection with, like the Spirit Within Tarot. I got it when it was like discounted, and I got a used version for a lot cheaper. But that was one of the decks that it looked really pretty on camera, and I loved how people work with it and stuff. And then I had it in my hands, and I'm like, maybe later. So yeah, I do have a couple of those decks that I haven't used. So I'm not going to give them away because they are part of my collection, and one day that collection is going to make someone very happy.
Yeah. And you know what? This is another thing that I say. Just like anything else, listen, we have gone through cycles in my own family where we have had to move, where we've lost our home, we've lost our vehicles financially, right? Knock on wood. Whoop, I need to find some wood to knock on it, but hopefully that would never happen again. But it did show me one thing, because we always had a lot of material goods. When the time came and we needed money, we were able to sell our belongings. The same difference with whatever you collect, like tarot decks, there's always going to be somebody that is probably going to buy them from you. So it is an investment. As long as you keep it in good shape, it's an investment. Some of them even bigger investments, depending on which ones they are.
Yeah.
You know, or something to pass down. But my kids, my family, they're not really interested. So yeah, I'd probably just sell them. And go
pass them on.
Exactly. Moon said, I have a running wish list in my notepad on my phone, thanks to all you wonderful people. Yes. My husband just got done telling me this morning, I just got done cleaning out my wish list on Amazon, and then I looked at yours, and oh my gosh, it's so long. I go, I know, honey. I'm sorry. I see it. I don't want to forget about it, so I put it in my save for later. But it might sit in my save for later for a year, because I just can't push the button to say yes, even when it's a $20 deck. You know, I'm like, do I really need it? I'm like struggling with myself.
Yeah, and then I leave it up to fate. And if that deck gets a really good discount or coupon from Amazon, then I may pull the trigger. But I've also deleted decks from my wish list when something other came along that I liked much better. Yeah. And after a while, I was just like, do I still want it? And I'm like, nope. And then my wish list does change.
Yeah, mine does too. And I told my husband, there's some of them on there that I might have already gotten. I just forgot to take them off of my wish list. So, I mean, probably not a whole bunch, but because it is. He said it's like pages long, honey. I'm like, I'm sorry, you know. YouTube.
Like at the beginning of the year, I thought, okay, there's not that many decks coming out this year. They're really pretty, so good. Now I can work on my book wish list. And then these decks came.
Yeah. This is one. It was just on sale on Amazon for like $16 and something. And I remember when this first came out, it was like $39 if I remember right. It was either $29 or $39. So I thought that's a good deal. But it was one I was like iffy about, because I had seen other reviews about this particular deck with them saying that she, you know, her depiction of the gods and goddesses is just not, you know, correct and all that. And honestly, I don't follow that, because I think it's a personal connection that you would have with that god or goddess. It's a personal thing, a personal path. So if that god or goddess appears to them, well, goddess in this case, appears to them in a different form, then it's their deck that they're creating, right? So I was like, okay. And I'm glad I got it. I have really connected with this deck. It is incredible. Incredible. So, anywho, I'm in a no-buy year. Well, I think this year it's going to be a little bit easier to be in a no-buy. Just because of what's going on, and it's not so easy to get a hold of them now, or they make you wait a month or two in order to get it.
Not over here. I've been shopping quite a bit.
Have you?
I was like, yeah, so I've been going back to work, and even when I was sick, I was like, okay, now I was sick, I need some retail therapy just to make myself feel better again. I went back to work, and like, oh, I had such a hard week. Click, bye. So yeah, that's like, yeah. So the gold dawn decks, they're very recent, and yeah, some other decks as well.
She said, "Don't
But
get started on my book wish
try to
list."
get a good deal always. So, and I do have a limit. I'm like not paying more than $50 for a deck, even for an out of print one.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Good luck with that. With the out of print ones. I mean, you can still find them sometimes, like in shops and stuff like that, that where they don't realize what they had. They might have purchased it and held on to it for a long time. That's like the perfect find.
Yeah. Or in other countries, like I've seen websites from Switzerland, I think, and they sell some decks from Los Scarabeo. They're long out of print, and you can't get them anymore, but they still have them for the original price. Like you don't even have to break the bank.
Ooh, yeah, that's always good. There's like this psychology behind it. Like, you know what? Even if I didn't necessarily want it, I am making a major investment. You know, I mean, really, you can be if you know the right place to sell it. But so, does anyone have any more questions for Maria? I find it even more tempting to shop online. Getting it in Amazon delivery is an event now. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Are you guys to the point where when something comes in that you are like wiping it down, you're like saging it? Really? Oh gosh, I am. I'm like wiping it all down. Any surface that it touches, I'm wiping that down really good. I'm like saging everything.
Well, some of the delivery people are very careful. Like they would just like almost throw it at you and like, here you go. And then they're gone. And some even hold that thing where you have to sign with your finger, like the electronic thing, and they don't care about it. So it's very different. And one, she even left it like in the hallway, like halfway between our door and the elevator, and she just put it there. And so my man had to go out and get it. So it's very different. But
He's like walking like this.
And Amazon Prime in one day, you know, it takes a week, but we can still get it.
Yeah. Oh, I've had stuff on my list that I ordered in the beginning of April, and it took a month for me to get it because it was not like deemed okay. It was not like deemed essential items off of Amazon. And I told my husband, I said, why are we even paying for Prime then right now? Because they're pretty much doing that with everything.
To watch the shows.
It's like, hello. I mean, I don't know, but we're still paying for Prime, of course, but I don't want to give it up. But yeah, they're saying spraying everything. Yes. Lysol wipes. Yeah. Yep, the alcohol ready 5 Oracle. Oh, you're waiting on 5 Oracle decks. Oh, that is just awesome. Yeah. Lysol is my new sage. I do both. I have these always at hand. I mean, I'm literally wiping down the outside. Then as the stuff comes in, as I'm opening it up, because you don't know how long ago it was packed either, and who's packing it and all that. So I'm like wiping all that down. I'm like running it under sage. I'm doing the whole kit and caboodle. But I mean, we do that with our groceries when we bring it in. Anything that, I mean, I'm wiping down all the stuff. I'm running all the fruits and vegetables under water. Just can't be too cautious, right? My favorite color is lavender. All right. Well, I think we are done unless anybody else has any questions for you, honey. This has been wonderful. I am so pleased that you finally did this with me, and I am actually pleased in the new order of my questions. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
I do. Oh, just so everybody knows, on my website now at amethystascension.com, if you are thinking about doing an interview, you can contact me through the contact on that page. But also on all of the free downloads, I have this questionnaire. If you're thinking about and you're not sure whether or not you want to do one of these, here's all the questions. Okay, so you can print it off, you can think about it, and
There are a
then
couple of ladies in here that I would really love to see in this interview.
absolutely. Absolutely. Definitely Amy. Jade. Jade, you've got quite a large collection too. And I know that you are newer. So I would really love to know, inquiring minds want to know how many decks you have now. Yeah. So thank you so much, Maria. This has been wonderful. Hang on, because after I end it, we still got some talking to do. But on the down low.
Yeah.
So,
well,
all
thanks
right.
for everyone who came. This was really fun.
Yeah. Thank you, guys. And I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your weekend. It's going to be like 73 here today. And well, I mean, it's shining right now, sun shining, but we do have cloud cover coming. But yeah. Thank you, guys. Love you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.